from 2003 till 2012, were you involved in any business ventures, either buying, selling, leasing, financing properties with Allan Haymes?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe what these transactions involved? Which transactions were they?
Objection: immaterial, irrelevant, beyond the scope of the direct examination.
Allan and I are partners in an entity called Elca Associates, so we had matters related to that, numerous matters.
Did you ever communicate with Sherry Cohen regarding Elca Associates, an attorney in Craig Donoff's office?
It's possible. I don't remember names, her name necessarily, although I did have some, because for purposes of preparing and Elca tax returns, I might have spoken to someone at Craig Donoff's office. Cannot remember her name or his name.
Let's turn to Exhibit K. Which is an email you sent to Sherry Cohen in Craig Donoff's office.
Right. Great.
Okay.
Then that was her name. You're correct.
Right. Did you send this email to Sherry Cohen?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And the balances of this partnership is $56,420.50 for Elca Associates. Is that correct?
At that date?
Objection, calling for hearsay. The document speaks for itself. This is, again, irrelevant, immaterial, and beyond the scope of the direct examination.
But yes, that's what, on that date?
Yes.
Yes, that was those were the dollar amounts in the accounts. Elca Associates purchased one building when the partnership was created, and that is all that single property is the only property and still exists in Elca Associates.
What is the name, what is the address to that building?
Objection, irrelevant, immaterial, harassing, beyond the scope of the issues in this case, beyond the scope of the direct examination. If you have that knowledge, you can answer.
I just know it's in Pennsylvania. I do not know its exact address. This is a rental. This is a rental property.
What was the rental property?
Elca Associates.
Okay. Under People at Work, do you see a partnership called Elca Associates Limited Partnership? Under page 3.
Same objections.
No.
What about page 4?
I see my name, yes, at the bottom of the page, but the dates are irrelevant. There's
Do you see a partnership called Aces Associates Limited Partnership?
Objection, irrelevant, immaterial. Hearsay on hearsay, best evidence rule.
Yes.
Okay. Under people at work, do you see a partnership called Elca Associates Partnership?
Same objections. Irrelevant, immaterial, beyond the scope of the direct, harassing. Any reference to this accurate report is hearsay on hearsay. This document has not been properly introduced. There's no foundation established for the information that's purportedly contained in this report. There's no predicate for these questions.
No, I do not see Elca unless I don't see Elca listed.
Okay. Let's turn to Exhibit X.
Which exhibit was that, Mr. Marshall?
X.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Exhibit X is a partial 2009 tax return for Allan Haymes. Under Part 2, Number 2, what is the name of the partnership?
Reads Elca Associates. Is that
Okay. What is the FEIN number?
I will read the ID number, 133362. It's a little blurry, but it looks like 534.
Okay, let's turn to Exhibit W.
Yes.
This exhibit states that there were no results for FEIN number 13-33622534 in the United States. Did you ever file a tax return for Elca Associates Partnership?
I do, in fact, file a tax return and have since Elca Associates was created. I do not,
Okay.
or if I do not know from the top of my head the ID number for Elca Associates.
But you did file an Elca Associates Partnership tax return,
Right.
correct?
Whether this is the number that
Right.
it was filed under, I cannot answer. This could be, they may have typed, had an input error on the type on Allan Haymes.
Right.
This is not the Elca tax return. But I definitely
Okay.
filed and continue to file Elca tax returns.
Okay. Have you ever filed? Okay. Have you ever bought, sold, or leased property using Elca Associates Partnership?
Mr. Marshall, you haven't established that Ms. Cohen is a member of Elca or is aware of its activities such that she could testify in response to that question.
Were you a part of doing articles of incorporation or foreign partnerships for Elca Associates Partnership?
Objection. To be supplemented
Well, I
later for
wasn't the lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't form the partnership.
Okay. Do you have any documentation that you were a part of Elca Associates Partnership, such as emails or letters?
Again, objection.
I don't understand the question. I'm sorry.
Do you have any documentation that you were a part of Elca Associates, such as emails or letters?
Same objections.
I don't have any emails or letters, but I am a partner in Elca Associates.
Did you ever send any emails to anybody regarding Elca Associates Partnership?
Same objections.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Exhibit D is a filing endorsement through Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs for Aces Associates Limited Partnership. Did you close this partnership on March 5th, 2012?
Object. Best evidence rule. No foundation, irrelevant, immaterial, beyond the scope of the examination. Hearsay, hearsay on hearsay.
To the best of my knowledge, this entity was dissolved with the federal government in 1988. It came to the attention of the partner, I guess. It came to the attention of someone that there was an unfiled form in the state of Michigan. And therefore, in 2012, to tidy up the open record. But the partnership itself was dissolved or was dormant and never carried on business. So it was purely
you signed and closed this partnership to complete it with your signature. Is that correct?
What was that last word?
So you signed your signature to tie up and close down this entity.
Objection, leading, objection, improper cross, objection beyond the scope, irrelevant. Sorry.
I signed the document for purposes of, as you said, just tying up loose ends. The entity was a dormant partnership, and the state of Michigan required this form, and therefore
Why wasn't this? Go ahead.
And therefore I signed it.
Why wasn't Elca Associates Limited Partnership closed in 2010 when your partner Allan Haymes died?
We were unaware that there was loose ends.
Okay. Exhibit E is a comprehensive business report with private investigator Frank Roman that I received on December 15, 2012, as identified in the upper left-hand corner. Page 2 of 4 has a corporate filing number. Under corporate filing number 1, what is the name type? What is the legal address for this partnership?
It doesn't
Same
read.
objections.
It doesn't read a legal address. It just the address is a New York address. That was the attorney.
What is the address?
950 3rd Avenue, New York, New York, 10022, and it's just a law. That's a legal address where the law firm who incorporated, who set up the activity.
Under the second to last section, it states, as of September 2nd, 2004, what is so particular about this address or the date?
Same objections.
Not offhand, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't even see
The
where.
last page under Dun and Bradstreet shows the annual sales in 2010 as $130,000 and shows a failed revision date of May 18th, 2012, and shows the Elca Associates Limited Partnership is a securities broker and dealer. Did you report any of this to Dun & Bradstreet?
Same objections. This is irrelevant, immaterial, harassing. Mr. Marshall, you're misreading these documents. These documents are illegible. You are attempting to lead the witness. There's no foundation. These documents have not been properly admitted. This document is a summary. It is an improper summary. It's hearsay on hearsay.
Okay, wait.
It's not the best evidence of the information which you are seeking.
To the best of my knowledge, reading this Dun & Bradstreet report, this is a different entity. This is an Elca Associates that was established in 2010. This is, I have nothing, I have no relationship with this entity, to the best of my knowledge. This is,
Okay.
they're
Turn to Exhibit H. Which is an entity information through New York Department of State, Division of Corporation for 210 CCS Associates LLC. You know of this LLC?
Objection. This document is not best evidence. This document is not certified. There's no foundation. This document is hearsay without being subject to any of the exceptions. It appears to be a summary document, which would be hearsay on hearsay. It is irrelevant, immaterial, beyond the scope. Mr. Marshall, at this point, you've spent close to 45 minutes harassing Ms. Cohen with irrelevant information. If you go another 10 minutes, we are going to call the court this morning, and we are going to bring this to his attention and allow the court to decide whether or not this line of questioning should continue.
Okay, this is about property at 210 Central Park South, Mr. Tony Costa. This is regarding the sale of properties from 2005 to 2012.
Mr. Marshall,
Okay,
it's already been established that Mr. Haymes rented at 210 and did not own any property there.
I realize that. Just because you rent it doesn't mean you can own. The partnership for Aces Associates doesn't always talk about owning. It talks about leasing, financing, not just renting. Okay, so that partnership discusses other ways of owning property other than straight ownership by an individual.
Mr. Marshall, you haven't established that Aces Associates owned this property. We've now, with the assistance of the witness, established there's at least 2 Aces Associates in the world.
Right.
You haven't established that the proper Aces Associate owns this property. If you wish to question the witness about these issues, you need to do it correctly. You need to establish the predicate facts, which you have not yet done. You have not connected any of these facts to any of the issues in this lawsuit, which is about the testimony capacity of Allan Haymes and your allegations that Lois Haymes unduly influenced her father to change the will.
Right. This deposition is not about Allan Haymes' testamentary capacity, because this deposition, Ellen Cohen was not involved into his ability. This deposition is more or less about Aces Associates Limited Partnership and Elca Associates Partnership. And you flew down up to New York for this reason only. Okay, you did not fly up to New York regarding Allan Haymes' capacity to make his own decisions, because she was never involved with that. She does not know Zara Marshall. She does not know very much about Allan Haymes' everyday situation in Florida. Okay?
Mr. Marshall,
Can I repeat, though? I want to make a statement. Aces Associates never owned, and that really pretty much explains my situation. Aces Associates never owned, acquired, held, operated, maintained, leased, financed, disposed of real property or any other acts incidental or necessary pursuant to said business and the partnership agreement. It was dormant. It was a dormant entity. It was never an owner, a leaser, an operator, or any other thing of 210 Central Park South or any other property for that matter. So I've established that.
Okay, let's turn to Exhibit F, which is another report from private investigator Frank Roman, as in the Articles of Incorporation for Aces Associates in Exhibit A and B. Exhibit F under Associated People, Ellen Cohen, Allan Haymes, and Alan Simmons are the business contacts. Is that correct?
same objections. This is harassing, irrelevant, immaterial, beyond the scope of the direct. This document is not best evidence of the information which you're seeking to call into the record. This is an improper summary. This purported exhibit is hearsay. It's hearsay on hearsay. It's not the official business records. It's an improper summary. There's no foundation. It's not been properly authenticated. And we object to any use of this document.
My name is, yes, my name is listed.
Okay.
But it was a dormant entity. I will repeat that again to you, Xylo. It was a dormant entity. It was in existence for 1 year, 1988. Final tax returns were filed. It was dormant. It did not own, lease, acquire, rent, anything.
Okay. Let's turn to number 4 of page 2. Do you know the sale on April 30th, 2008?
Same objections, irrelevant,
What is this?
immaterial, harassing, beyond the scope of direct, no foundation, improper summary, hearsay, hearsay on hearsay, not the best evidence, no foundation, no predicate.
I have no privy or no information concerning 210 Central Park South, or whatever that is, 210 LLC. I have absolutely no involvement, never have, in any capacity through any partnership or individual for 210 Central Park South or 210 LLC.
Okay, so you don't know anything about Aces Associates. You know nothing about any property being sold at 210.
Excuse me? I know Aces Associates, I do.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt you? Objection. That was a blatant mischaracterization of her testimony. Her testimony was very specific that she knows about Aces Associates, that it was organized to acquire property, it was subsequently did not acquire property, and it has had no active operations since its organization. I resent your attempt to recharacterize that statement into a blatant statement that she has no knowledge about any aspect of Aces Associates, Mr. Marshall.
Okay, all right. Give me a few more seconds here. I think since she doesn't know much about any sales of any property at 210 Central Park South.
Just a couple recross questions, Ms. Cohen. Do you have any special affinity or special hostility in favor of or against Lois Haymes or Xylo Marshall?
No.
Okay. And just to clarify for the record, did Aces Associates ever have any formal operations?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Nothing further. Thank you for your time today.
You're welcome.
The time is 10:24 a.m. on March 5th, 2014, and this completes the videotape deposition of Mrs. Ellen Cohen.
Thank you.
How did you come to be business partners with Allan Haymes?
Well, as I said, I worked for him for about a year.
Okay.
And then we started looking to buy properties, and we subsequently bought properties and were partners over the years.
Okay. What was your business? I gather you guys were purchased and redeveloped real estate. Is that a fair characterization, or?
We purchased what's called, most of the properties we purchased tended to be what's called triple net leases.
Okay.
Buildings leased to one tenant.
You've testified that you were in contact with Mr. Haymes on a fairly regular basis. For the period 2008 to 2009, were you still in contact with Mr. Haymes on a fairly regular basis?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was.
Okay. And during that period of time, and most particularly with regard to, say, December 2008 and January 2009, maybe February 2009, were you in contact with Allan Haymes during that period of time?
Yes, I believe I was.
Okay. And during that period of time, did you believe that Allan Haymes appeared to lack mental capacity?
No, he never lacked mental capacity.
Okay.
During that period.
Okay. When you would speak with Allan Haymes in particular during this period of time, what would you speak about?
We often spoke about our existing property that we were partners in, as well as new potential opportunities that I was looking at, and we would, discuss different offers that I might make for these properties and different business strategies that we would pursue.
Okay. Based on your description, these sound like potentially fairly sophisticated, higher level discussions. Like you weren't calling just talking about baseball scores. Did Mr. Haymes have any trouble keeping up in these discussions?
He had no trouble keeping up.
Okay.
He was integrally involved and provided meaningful input.
Okay. I apologize, some of these questions seem kind of basic. So during this period of time, Allan Haymes knew who he was?
Yes, he absolutely knew.
And he knew where he was?
Yes, he absolutely knew where he was.
And he knew when he was in time?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Would he recognize, does he know his family members, do you know?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Did you have any concern over his ability to appreciate things like his net worth or his financial position?
He knew his financial position very well.
Okay. And that would come up because you guys were still discussing, or I guess, would that come up in your discussions of possible investments as to whether or not he would participate, or?
Sure, absolutely. But, we also had discussions about his other properties that he was involved with and owned. He was very clear of mind and very clearly able to communicate the concepts that he was trying to get across.
From January 1st, 2003 till September 5th, 2010, how many transactions were you and Allan Haymes involved with?
Can you repeat that question? I'm sorry. Mr. Marshall,
January 1st.
the court reporter is going to read that question back, but can I ask you to speak up? We're having a little trouble hearing you on this side.
Sure.
From January 1st, 2003 until September 5th, 2010, how many transactions were you and Allan Haymes involved with?
Involved is a very unclear term.
Buying, selling, leasing, financing, subleasing.
We looked at potential acquisitions and potential transactions, but didn't, as I said, we didn't close any during that period of time. So,
Okay.
But we did own one property together
Where did you own that property?
in Pittsburgh.
From January 1st, 2003 till current, how many transactions were you and Lois Haymes involved with? Are you aware of the sale of any properties at 210 Central Park South?
Objection, leading, objection, vague and ambiguous.
Allan was a tenant in an apartment in 210 Central Park South, but to the best of my knowledge, he had no ownership interest in it. It was a rental apartment building.
Okay. So you're not sure of the sale of any property on April 30th, 2008 that was in excess of $15 million?
Objection, leading, objection, mischaracterizes his testimony. Per my standing objection, I'll just supplement it later.
You're referring to 210 Central Park South?
Yes.
Allan, to the best of my knowledge, never had any ownership interest in 210 Central Park South.
Not through a tax there's a okay. This is a real estate investment trust for the property at 210 Central Park South and a RPTT. I'm not sure what that means, but it was owned under those two entities. Are you aware of the sale of any of the properties at 210 Central Park South using those two entities?
No.
Okay. Do you know the gentleman by the name of Jeffrey Muedler, Moerdler?
I've heard the name.
Okay. Where do you know this gentleman from?
I do not know him. I only have heard his name. I believe he's active in the real estate industry in New York.
Okay. Do you know of a gentleman by the name of Levin Mintz, M-I-N-T-Z?
To the best of my knowledge, Levin Mintz is a law firm that I believe is based in Boston, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, let's turn to Exhibit H.
Should be tabbed at the top.
H. Okay. I have it. Exhibit H.
Okay. Do you know of an LLC called 210 TPS Associates?
Per my standing objection, irrelevant and material beyond the scope. I'll supplement later.
No, never seen it before.
Okay. Let's turn to Exhibit R.
R. There's no R. Sorry. Okay, I have it.
Okay, under number 1, it shows the sale of $15 million. I don't have the exact amount here. Are you aware of a sale on April 30th, 2008 with that with that amount, $15,610,000? Are you aware of that sale?
Objection per the standing objection. Best evidence, lack of predicate. I'll supplement.
No.
Okay. And you're not sure of a sale? Okay. All right. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Objection.
No.
Leading improper question.
Okay. Nothing further. Thank you.